Hello and welcome to another video from Natasha Lee. Today I'm going to show you how to do these wonderful Finding Dory nails. Now, I was a huge fan of Finding Nemo when it came out, so when I knew there was a movie coming out just about Dory, I was absolutely over the moon. Now, these are a more detailed design and I would give them a 4 out of 5 stars on a difficulty level and about 40 minutes for both hands, but they are so worth it. If you really love Finding Dory, then why not pop over to my friend Maggie at Red Ted Art to see how to make these amazing Finding Dory and Nemo bookmarks. Full links are in the description. Now let's get started. As always, after filing, cleansing and doing cuticle work on our nails, we're going to apply our base coat to all 10 nails and allow to dry. As always also, I will include full details of all the products that I've used in the description. As we're going to be sponging, I'm going to use a base colour of China Glaze Dashboard Dreamer just to help with the opacity. Apply one coat to all 10 nails and allow to dry. To make cleanup easier later, I'm going to use a liquid latex barrier on the skin around the nails. Again, apply this to all 10 nails and allow to dry. Now we're ready to start the sponging, and for this I'll be using Essie's Aruba Blue, CND Vinylux in Lost Labyrinth, and OPI's This Colour's Making Waves. Using a makeup sponge, I'm going to apply a stripe of the Aruba Blue to the top and bottom of the makeup sponge. I find it helpful to measure your nail against the makeup sponge to see where it's best to apply the lines. Then I'm going to apply some CND Vinylux in Lost Labyrinth. And finally, I'm going to finish with the OPI This Colour's Making Waves in the centre. Now pat the sponge all over your middle two fingers, that's your middle finger and your ring finger, so that you have a nice enveloped look of the dark at the top and bottom to give a good graduation. For our little finger, index finger and thumb, we're going to apply a square onto the other side of the sponge. This is just to save using too many sponges. And I'm starting with the Aruba Blue on the outside, CND Vinylux in Lost Labyrinth in the inner square, and finally a nice dab of the OPI in the centre. On our first finger, we want to use one side of the square to give a nice dark semicircle sort of effect around the nail. This is to give an enclosed ocean feel. And on the little finger, we're going to use the opposite side of the square and do the dark line on the outside edge. On the thumb, we're going to use the whole square to give a nice graduation. Repeat this 2 to 3 times on all nails to get a really good opaque finish. Because we want Dory to stand out against the blue background, I'm using some Essie Waltz, which is like a semi-opaque white, and just a little bit on the sponge, and then dab it onto the ring finger in the centre. This is just to give a bit of a whiter background for it to really stand out. Now it's time to start having some fun applying the design, and we're going to start with Nails Ink St James's Park and a variety of dotting tools. And I'm going to create some coral onto the bottom of the nails. This is really easy but so effective. Just do little squiggly lines and then some little branches coming off them. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to take one of the fabulous hollows from EDK, which is Rosetta, and create some more coral. Again, it's exactly the same, just some little squiggles and branches coming off. Just remember on the ring finger not to go too high up the nail because that's where Dory is going to be appearing. Now I'm going to be taking Amiga Hollow from EDK and adding some seagrass to the look. You can apply this wherever you fancy and fill in any of the gaps that you like on the bottom of any of the nails. To add a little sparkle, I'm going to be adding just a little bit of CND Vinylux in Butterfly Queen just at the bottom of each of the nails where the coral is. Now it's time to start painting Dory, and I'm going to be using OPI My Pal Joey to create her. I find it easiest to use a very fine point dotting tool first to create the design, and start with the front of her face down to her top lip, and then create the shape of her mouth, and finally finish with the shape of her body. Don't worry if it's too rough, we're going to be tidying this up in a moment. Using a number 10 brush from Pure Colour, I'm just going to tidy around the outline of the design. Next we're going to create Dory's tail, and I'm using OPI My Twin Mimi. And using again my Pure Colour brush, I'm just going to apply the design like a triangle really to the side of the nail. This will give the look that Dory is swimming across our fingers. Now it's time to create some little fishies in the background, and I'm using this CND Vinylux Electric Orange and a dotting tool. Just apply the dotting tool to the nail and then pull it across slightly to create a teardrop effect. Then using a needlepoint dotting tool, just apply 2 little lines to make tails on each of the dots that you've created. By now Dory's body should be dry, so we can start adding some detailing. For her eyes, I'm using Colour Club French Tip and a medium dotting tool. Just apply a dot straight where her eye would be, and then swap to a smaller size dotting tool to create her other eye. For Dory's body detailing, I'm using a black, and this is liquid leather from China Glaze, and my Pure Colour 10 fine detail brush. We're just going to create the design that's over her back, and we're just going to follow around the shape and then add detailing around the eyes and follow the curve of her body. Now I am using a picture to give me the inspiration for this. You might find it a little easier to either use my video or follow a picture off the internet that's suitable. Using your needlepoint dotting tool, add some detailing to her mouth and some shading. This is how we're going to add depth and 3D effect to the design. Then with the dotting tool, we're just going to add 2 black dots for eyes, and with our fine detail brush, we're going to outline the tail and add a little bit of detailing. Finally, we're going to use our yellow and a dotting tool to create the little fin on the side. To really make Dory come to life, we're going to add some highlights and shading, and I'm using this As If from Lottie London, and just creating any highlighted areas on her face. And I am following my picture here to make this a bit easier. For the shading, I'm adding a little bit of black to the existing blue from OPI to actually create a really good shading colour. If you don't have a separate pale blue, you could always add a little white to the OPI to actually give you the highlighting areas. This last step is what makes the design really pop off the nails, and we're going to add some highlighting and shading to the coral. I'm using a darker coral from Essie, and we're just going to take that down one side of each of our coral sticks. If you don't have many polished colours, what you can do instead is add a little black to your original coral colour, and then a little white as well, and that will create the shading and highlighting colours. Apply your highlighting colour to the opposite side of the coral, and this is what gives it a really 3D look. Now we're ready to remove our liquid latex. Try and do this as carefully as you can, but if your design is dry, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Clean any extra polish off the skin using a brush dipped in nail polish remover or acetone. And now we're ready to top coat. I'm using Such Feet as always, and apply a nice generous layer to all 10 nails and allow to dry. Don't forget to cap those ends to stop the design from chipping. And finally, as always, I'm going to apply a slick of cuticle oil, and I'm using Essie the cuticle pen. As I said earlier, all links are in the description of where you can purchase all the items that I've used. And here's the finished look. I love these nails, they are absolutely brilliant and so much fun. I keep looking at them now on my hands. Let me know what you think, and let me know what else you would like to see on my channel for nail art tutorials. Thank you very much to all my diviners. As you will know, I do read all of the comments I get on all of my videos and take everything you say on board. And part of that has meant that I've now introduced a difficulty level and a time level for my nails. You'll see the details on the thumbnail and in the description. Let me know what you think about that and what else you'd like to see. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.